Okay, I'm going to be honest. I'm always honest, but I'm going to be brutally honest this time. Some of my Thunder fan friends are not going to like how cold-bloodedly honest I'm about to be, because the truth is the Thunder team that I love, that I've loved for the last 3 years, is playing a dangerous game, and I do not love it. I said in the arena yesterday to Rashad McCants, big Spurs fan, Wemby fan, I said, I love your Spurs in Game 6 in San Antonio because that's just the way the Thunder do business. Then they'll roll right out of that and go home and win Game 7, just as they did last year, conference semifinals against Denver. They went to Denver and they lost 119 to 107, so they lost by 12. And they went right home, thanks to Russell Westbrook. Way to go, Russ Westbrook. They went right home for Game 7, and they won 125 to 93. What a turnaround that was. Then in the NBA Finals against the Indiana Pacers, Game 6 at Indiana, they lost by 17. They lost 108 to 91, and they went right home for Game 7 a couple days later, and they won 103 to 91. So I said, this is just the way they do business. This is their DNA, that for some reason they got this at home. And that's their mentality. That's their approach. They actually weirdly saved themselves in Game 6 because they trust themselves so completely in Game 7s in front of their home crowd. So I thought here we were going again until I witnessed what I just witnessed in Game 6 at San Antonio. I did not love it. I saw nothing to even remotely like. They didn't give me a shred to hang on to for Game 7. Well, that will work. Nothing worked. And I have said this about this team. No great team I have ever closely observed, and I've seen a whole bunch of great teams, and I do consider this a great team over a 3-year span, dominating the Western Conference. Still heavy favorites to win it all this year. But I've never seen a great team with the capability of, from night to night, game to game, looking so bad, so overmatched, so lifeless, especially on defense. This was an ass-kicking tonight of the highest proportion. And truly, even though I said Thunder in 7, even though I said Spurs will win 6, Thunder in 7, I didn't see this coming. I thought they'd at least be competitive for 3.5 quarters. That's what I thought. And that little tiny voice, the very back of my head, deep down in my psyche, that little voice kept saying, remember what Wemby did at the end of Game 5 when he was getting his ass kicked in Oklahoma City. Remember what he did? He leaned over and whispered to his 2 goons coming in to replace him with 2:13 left. Biyombo and Plumlee. He whispered to both of them, go get somebody for me. Go do my dirty work for me. I thought it was gutless. I thought it was wimpish, babyish. And then he ducks the media, and he kind of ducked the media tonight. Answered, I think, maybe 1.5 questions on the floor, and then ran. I thought maybe the Spurs pushed the wrong buttons in the Thunder tonight, as in pro-Thunder buttons, as in there was that skirmish early where Vassell blocked Chet and he's screaming in his face. He's a fake tough guy, Vassell. He can shrink on the road. They got one tough guy on that whole team, and that's Castle. One. And by the way, if Castle wanted to step outside with Dort, my money's on Dort. If they want to go out into the alley behind the arena, see who gets the best of whom, just the two of them, my money is on Lou Dort in that one. So Oklahoma City's got a tough guy too, and they've got a tough team mentality, and they've got high basketball character and a very strong basketball backbone. And I thought when Vassell is screaming at Chet, should have gotten attacked for it, for taunting, should have, pushing him, shoving him. Oh, it's Chet. Yeah, you're a big, bad, tough guy, Vassell. Fake tough guy. Chet? That's all you got? Come on, man. But I thought maybe the Thunder would say, okay, if that's how you want to play it, watch this. I thought it might be that flashpoint watch this moment where the pride kicked in and SGA said, I'll show you tough. And they did. They fought back pretty hard, and Jalen Williams, the other Jay Will, had 3 wide open threes, and if he just hit a couple of them, it would have been a 1-point game at halftime. So I thought, okay, so they hung in for a half. And then the third quarter happened, and it was just all-time shameful. The Oklahoma City Thunder quit in the third quarter. They gave up a 20-0 run, the longest, worst run they've ever given up in their playoff history. And what tore me up was they wouldn't even get back on defense. San Antonio could just outrun them up the floor. Outrun, bunny. And it just knocked me out of my seat, man. Made me question everything I'm watching. You can't do that. They lost the third quarter, a quarter that they have owned all season and all playoffs to this point. They lost the third quarter 32-13. It's just all-time pathetic, and it had no championship feel to it. Again, the Thunder are weird. They can look worse than any great team I've ever seen on any given night. And I will remind you, as I cling to little bits and pieces here, I will remind you that Game 4 at San Antonio, they're up 2-1. They lost 103-82, and they stunk. They looked lifeless. They looked overmatched. And I said, okay, so they'll go home and win Game 5. And I was a little shaky, because if the alien's going to play like that, then I'd say, well, it's going to be a problem. But the alien got his ass kicked in Oklahoma City by Hartenstein. Ass kicked. 0 for 5 from 3. No front running, no fake tough guys that night. They were just fake. And Wemby was an alien hoax. That's what he was that night. And this is impossible. But this is what this team is capable of. They went from scoring 82 points to scoring 127 at home in Game 5. The turning point game, 82% playoff history. Game 5 winners win the series. 127-114. So they improved by 45 points on offense. That's hard to do in a playoff series. 45 points, but they did it. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe once they'll make it a little easy on themselves. Maybe that baby move by Wemby, sending his goons out after him, gooning Jared McCain twice. McCain said Biyombo's lining up for the free throw. McCain was about to shoot, and he said, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" He said, "I got another one for you." That's what McCain said. I'm thinking, okay, wouldn't that rub your pride a little raw? I thought maybe they're going to come out and fight tonight. And I guess they fought for a half, but San Antonio just wanted it so much more from jump tonight that it's pretty scary, I'll admit to you, because you're playing the dangerous game of, no, we got game 7. Well, at some point in your playoff run, in your history, there's going to come a game 7 at home that you won't got. You just keep saying, okay, we'll get them at home. We'll get them at home. We'll get them at home. And at some point, the Spurs are going to say, screw that. Watch this. And they're going to come out. They're always more aggressive from jump. And I don't know why. SGA always gets off to a cold, out of rhythm, out of sync start. Sort of hesitant to shoot and then forcing up shots that look awful, turning the ball over, not sure, going up to shoot, and then trying to pass it back out, throwing it out of bounds. They better come out correct on Saturday night in Oklahoma City, because they just keep fueling the Spurs with supreme confidence and energy, and then saying, we'll shut that down. We'll turn that water off, turn that rocket fuel off back in our place. Well, at some point you won't be able to, because they're just going to bring too much momentum into your place, into your house, into your building, that you definitely control. The crowd's going to be great. But this is shameful. You at least have to compete in game 6. Or maybe you don't. I don't know. And as a Thunder fan, I'm just hoping that the Spurs used up all their magic, all their heat, all their shot making. It seemed like everything they threw up just went in tonight. 3-point shots. They made 15. Oklahoma City wound up making 10. But Oklahoma City shot 10 of 40 from 3. That's 25%. That's 30 missed threes on the road. It's just killer. You got to take the home crowd out of it a little bit here and there. Nothing clicked. Nothing worked. San Antonio almost shot 50% from the floor. They won the boards 52-43. They won points in the paint. They even won points off turnovers tonight. I would say, Thunder smoke you with pot. Not tonight. They just came out lifeless on defense. Casey Wallace played some. He had a couple of early steals that were nice. Caruso wasn't that lightning bolt he usually is off the bench. That catalyst, that Ginobili. Are they just saving it for game 7? Man, I don't know. J-Dub came back, played a few little spurts, looked completely lost, out of sync, unsure, tentative, throwing it out of bounds, shooting air balls. It looked bad. It looked like he's just, it's just hard to believe that he's going to suddenly flip the switch back on in time and trust both of his hamstrings in time to be a significant contributor in game 7. It's just hard to believe. I just looking at these numbers, and they're just staggering. It was lifeless tonight. Like, we don't want to play. We don't care. We'll just wait for game 7. Okay. You have shown in the past you can do that. You even flipped that switch from game 4 to game 5 in this series. I got it. But I'm a little scared. I'll admit. I got some money. I got dinner riding on this, and now I'm going to see Aqib Talib tomorrow. We do have Arena Gridiron tomorrow. We're doing an NFL show with Quentin Lake of the Rams is coming in there, starting safety. We got great topics. We've already set it up. Can't wait for that. But we will start the show talking about Spurs Thunder because Aqib is in awe of the alien like everybody else. And so he immediately bet me a dinner on this series. He lost the last series. So, my game plan was I would just go in and if it's going to be game 7, which it is now, but I was thinking even before game 6, maybe he'd want to double down, make it 2 dinners for game 7. And now I'm like, I don't know. The money is going to pour in on the Spurs. That's what happened for game 5. That opened at 5.5 points, Oklahoma City by 5.5, and he got bet all the way down to 3.5. This one, I haven't looked yet. Maybe you've already seen it. I assume it's going to open at 5.5, 4.5. The odds makers still love the Thunder. Maybe 5.5, and it'll get bet down. The money's going to pour in on the Spurs because if you watch that tonight, you just say this is a mismatch. The Thunder got no shot. And SGA hasn't played one good game in 6. Not one SGA game. He got asked on the floor by NBC at the end of game 5, when are you going to say you had a good game? And he said, when I have a good game. And tonight, well, no. He did cook Wemby on that one when we got him on the baseline and just went up straight over him, made the baseline jumper. Love that. He made a shot here or there, but he just has to labor and work and labor and work. And that was obviously a cheap shot by, what's his name, Carter Bryant, the kid. That's a flagrant foul. I mean, you can't just get a running start and ram somebody and knock them over. It's flagrant. No. Look, ESPN or ABC, they need the Spurs. They need the alien. He's the face of the league now as LeBron fades away. I don't know. Maybe LeBron's going to play 2 more years. But Wemby's it. It's the alien. And they need him against the Knicks. Ratings, nobody wants the Thunder. And this is another night where nobody outside of Oklahoma City can even have any, like a shred of respect for the Thunder. Most people think they're boring. SGA's the free throw merchant. He's a flopper. He falls on every shot that he takes, every move that he makes. He's just falling. I think he's a genius. I say SGA, savant, genius, auteur. I say SGA, so good again. But there hasn't been an again in this series. There hasn't been a so good in this series, and it's a little shaky. And I'm hanging in. I'll say Thunder in 7, but it's another one of those nights where I'm not sure how. Even late in game 5, the shock was when I thought SGA, the clutch player of the year, would take over. He didn't. He went 1 of 5 in the fourth quarter, and dare I say, he was more liability than dominator. I'm trying to hang my hat on something where I say, that'll work. That'll work. Casey Wallace, love the way he's played. Love the way he shot the ball. But is that going to be enough? Jared McCain, I love the way he attacks. I love the way he gets in the lane and makes things happen. He is a ball handler that they lost when they lost A.J. Mitchell. If you had, seriously, if you had J-Dub full speed ahead, in rhythm, in rotation, in starting lineup, where he hadn't missed a beat, gotcha. If we had A.J. Mitchell, who's becoming a star, or at least a co-star, Against the Lakers, he averaged 23 a game. He's gone. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be gone for whatever's left of the playoffs. Calf pull. Sounds like a calf tear. So what am I supposed to do? Without those two, it's just hard. It's harder. So, I don't know. This team surprises me sometimes when it pulls something out of its butt that just got kicked. And I say, God, I didn't see that coming. Dagnall he's the best playoff coach in basketball. Sam Presti's the best strategist in basketball. So whatever they're going to do, it's just going to come down to this. You're going to have to make threes, and you have to make a lot more threes than you've been making. They're going to have to find some hot hands. Lou Dort's going to have to make them. Jay Will is going to have to make wide open threes. Kayson's going to have to continue. Caruso's going to have another out-of-his-mind shooting night. And you hope that SGA will take it up a level in Game 7 and just say, I got this. Stephon Castle is really good. In the arena with Kenyon Martin, we did a post-show video one day where we ranked the top 5 players in the West, and I think he thought I was out of my mind, but I just said, well, the 2 best teams by far have the 5 best players. And I start with SGA, and obviously Wembanyama is next. And I had Steph Castle as my 5th best player in the West because he's that good. I had Chet, and I guess I put Jay Dub on when he was still healthy. So I don't have those two, and it's shaky. And I don't know how they won Game 5 so dominantly. It was miraculous what happened in that game. But obviously, out of nowhere, the player that Presti stole from Philadelphia for a first and 3 seconds, Jared McCain, went crazy hot. I would have yanked him at halftime, and he went crazy hot in the second half and scored 18. Well, that's going to happen. Somebody's going to have to come out of nowhere. Kenrich Williams came off the bench, Kenny Hustle, and made 2 huge threes in that game. Dort's capable, once, blue moon, he can make 5 or 6 threes. But somebody's going to have to get hot-handed. They're just going to have to. They're just going to have to make shots that they did not make, and more important, they're just going to have to scratch and claw on defense in ways that they were embarrassing tonight on defense. They did not care. They flat out quit. And I guess they're going to quit their way all the way to Game 7, and we'll show you. Well, you better. I'm calling you out as quitters tonight because that was all-time disgusting. All-time disgusting. That wasn't championship team basketball. That wasn't defending champ basketball. You got punked tonight. You got punked at the end of Game 5, and it just carried right over into tonight. So here we go. Game 7, Saturday night, OKC.